open up our chat box and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. And we invite you to pull out your prayer booklet for Shabbat. And let's begin in song.
Great idea. So we're going to start with Matovu. Matovu ahalecha Yaakov. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob. This virtual space that we're sharing today, how wonderful it is to be here together. We'll put the words up on the screen. It's on page 4 if you're following in your Siddur. Matovu ahalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu ahalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani berov chastecha avo beitecha eshtachave el heichal kodshecha be'yiratecha. Ma tovu ahalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ahalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. And for our next song to welcome in Shabbat, one we haven't done in a while, but it's definitely a favorite. Tzadi Katamar, the righteous shall stand like a date tree, shall flourish like the date tree. You'll find the words on page 5, and we'll put them up on the screen for you as well. Tzadi Katamar. Tzadi Katamar Yifra Ke'erez balvanon yizkeh shetulim beveit Adonai b'chatrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun b'seiva deshenim v'rananim yiyu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatavo.
Thank you, Cantor. That was lovely. Oh, Shabbat Shalom, dear friends. Shabbat Shalom. So great to see you all. How wonderful it is for us to be together tonight as we come together to experience the joy and the wholeness and the peace that Shabbat, to see each other panim el panim. Well, I wanted to put up the picture behind me. Cantor, you're mentioning about it's been a little while since we'd saying Tzadi Katamar. It's been a while since I put up the mountains of Glendale behind me, and I felt like, well, it's spring and the weather is so pleasant and balmy. It just, that picture reminds me of what it can be like and what it is like during the spring here. Well, tonight is very special. It is very special for a number of reasons. And just looking around the room, each one of you is special. It's so great to see your smiling faces. And tonight, this Shabbat is very special because Shane Almagor becomes a bar mitzvah this Shabbat. And we're so honored and delighted to be with Shane and with his parents tonight. And so much to celebrate tonight. So let us turn to page 6 in our prayer booklet. Page 6, we come to the beautiful Sabbath hymn, Shalom Aleichem. We welcome the messengers of peace to help make our Shabbat all the more joyful and special tonight.
I just want to make a note that the melody we're about to use is by Nava Tehila, a really wonderful Jewish music group based in Israel, and this is one of my favorites of theirs. I've introduced it here before a couple of times, but in case it's new to you, don't worry, you'll figure it out. It's very easy to sing along to, so please join me. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Baruch Hu, Seichem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Thank you, Cantor. That was wonderful. Well, and looking at the time here in the greater Los Angeles area, the sun is set to set at 7:20. So we are just almost perfect timing to light our Shabbat candles. And so we turn to page 9, and to help us light our Shabbat candles again, we're so honored to be with the Almagor family as Shane becomes bar mitzvah this Shabbat. And we're so delighted to be with Shane and with his parents, Gabrielle and Tomer. Hi guys, Shabbat Shalom. Oh, and Shane, sounds like, are we with your dog too? Hey guys, was that your dog?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
What's your dog's name? He's got a Hebrew name or an English name? Huh?
We have 4.
I was gonna say, it sounded like more than one dog.
Oh my goodness.
Max, Tank, Millie, and Lulu.
Max, Tank, Millie, and Lulu.
They're all little. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What type of breed?
2 Chihuahuas. They're Chihuahua Dachshund, a Shih Tzu, and a Maltese.
Oh, you do like the smaller dogs. Very cool. And did you say one of your dogs is named Max?
Yes.
We
The
share
bigger
that
dogs
in
don't
common.
like furniture, you know. That's a problem.
Right?
Max is the son of Lulu. When we rescued Lulu, we didn't know she was pregnant.
How cool.
So I learned very quickly, about a week after we got her, what to do.
Yeah, you got a little, yeah, wow. So did you help birth? You were like a midwife?
Yes, because it was late at night, so the hospitals and vets were closed. So I just opened my laptop and started Googling what to do.
How smart.
Thank goodness for Google, right?
Thank goodness for Google. And I said, Tomer, make a pot of coffee. We're about to be grandparents. And he thought it was crazy, of course, but whatever.
Oh, that's so sweet. What a great moment. Well, and what a great moment it's going to be this weekend. It is tonight. Thank you for being with us tonight. We know you got a busy schedule for the next 24 hours. So, and we see you've got your wonderful Shabbat candelabra, and we're going to do this Temple Sinai style. We'd like to invite you to light that shamash, that middle candle. And then, oh, all right, Shane's got it. The bar mitzvah's doing it.
Mhm.
All right, you guys got a nice blue theme going on there. You got the
You
blue
wake up because you want
lighter gun. Tomer's got the great cyan kippah.
Good eye for color, Rabbi.
Fun.
There you go.
Good job.
Milky.
All right, great. Oh, all right, Shane, you got it. Oh, did it go out again? You got the trick Shabbat candles, it looks like.
Mine was doing that earlier too. I was like,
Yeah, go for it, Shane. Go ahead and light that again. We'll just keep.
It happens.
Yeah. Sometimes it just needs to burn down a little bit. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Do I see it?
Well, Cantor's going to lead us in the blessing. So just go ahead and light, and then
Okay.
Cantor will lead us all in the chant for candle lighting on page 9.
Working for you? Good.
Yeah.
The other one is easy. For your. Good job. There
Well
you go.
done.
You put it out.
Oh.
My goodness.
Did you say any
Stop.
blessings?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you guys. And we're going to see Shane in a little bit. He's going to lead us, he's going to do some Torah chanting for us tonight. And looking at the beautiful Almagor family and looking at all the beautiful families here with us tonight. And I'm seeing a number of them. Let's share in the family blessing in the middle of page 9. We're thinking of families who are close by and families who may be far as well. We embrace them all, and we ask God's blessings upon us and the entire world.
May God bless you and keep you. May He shine His face upon you and grace you. May He lift His presence unto you and grant you peace. May God bless you and keep you. May she shine her face upon you and grace you. May she lift her presence unto you and grant you peace. And grant you peace.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Well, I read something very interesting in preparation for a class I'm teaching this Wednesday night. How do you like that for a plug, Cantor? So with our monthly L'chaim happiness and health class, it's sort of Judaism and the science of well-being, how those two things intersect. I was reading how for people who may have a prayer or a meditation practice, show of hands, people have a prayer or meditation practice? Very good. So if you do that, there is a part of our brain, and I completely forgot what part of our brain does this, but what the part of our brain that normally is very good about, making a distinction and a separation between us and other people and how we orient in the world, during prayer and meditation, that dissolves a little bit, or I should say that not differently, it doesn't dissolve. That brain activity ceases during prayer and meditation, and the boundaries between me, myself, and I, the individual, and others in the world, that falls away. And they can see it through brain scans. And it reminds me that to me, that's what the Shema is all about, right? The Shema says that God is one, and that each one of us who is a representation of the divine on this earth is connected to God as children of God, each and every one of us, that we are connected. And that they're really the boundaries that we put up in our minds that, oh, this person's different than me or separate from me, and they're not my family, this is my family, that with the Shema, that sort of falls away and that dissolves, and we recognize how connected each and every one of us really is. So it's in that spirit that we affirm our Jewish faith, that God is one, the entire world, we are all one, we are all connected. We're on page 14. Please join us in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Well, we know what comes next. It is the V'ahavta prayer. And to lead us in the V'ahavta, to chant some Torah, we are so honored to call upon our bar mitzvah, Mr. Shane Almagor. Oh, there's one of your pups. Shane, can you see it on the screen, or do you have the V'ahavta in front of you there?
I have a seat from.
Awesome. Whenever you are ready, sir, go right ahead. We will join you at home.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבביך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים לחיות לכם לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Awesome. Way to go, Shane. That was great.
Yay!
Yofi, that was great. Wonderful. Great Torah chanting. Hey, Tomer, give me, because when we were talking in practice, I was saying like Yofi. Is Yofi still a thing in Israel? What is the it phrase in Israel right now for like awesome, great?
Well, the typical slang is sababa, but
oh right, sababa, and that's Arabic, right?
It is, but I heard a new one recently.
Do tell.
This is like the zeitgeist. So they take the word mushlam, which means perfection, right? And
Yeah.
they chop the end of it and they say mush.
Moosh. I love it. So
Yeah.
moosh
Sounds
is
about
like perfect.
Exactly. Perfection. Perfect.
Perfection. Moosh.
Yes.
All right. I love it. And sababa, translate sababa for us.
So Baba is really
Cool.
kind of everything, like the word cool. Exactly.
Cool. Sababa.
You know, it means yofi, it means mushlam, it means great. It's everything that cool means in our.
It means okay.
Yeah.
Like
I
if you
just
ask
learned the
somebody-
origins of the word okay today. That's very,
Yeah.
that's very interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a good word to have in your arsenal. If you don't know Hebrew, you can always say sababa with a
Hava.
smile, and everybody's fine.
Love it. I love it. Well, that was great, Shane. Sababa and Moosh and Yofi and Mitsuyan and all that. And we want to thank you all for being with us tonight. We know you got a big night ahead. And you've got an early morning. So thank you for being with us. And we totally understand if you need to sign off right now and start getting ready for the bar mitzvah. We look forward to celebrating tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock
Yeah.
Pacific time.
Yeah.
And wishing you all a Laila Tov. Good
Laila
night.
Tov. Thank you
Toda
so
raba.
much, guys.
Shabbat
Oh, Bavakasha. Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom. Thank you. Thank you. All right. See, we learned some new Israeli slang, Cantor, and
I did not know the moosh one. So
the moosh. Right. You knew about Sababa, right?
yeah, but I've been hearing that sababa is not quite as popular anymore as it used to be.
I see. So moosh is it. Moosh is the
Maybe.
it word. All right. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do moosh. Well, I have no transition from Mush to Michamocha. Well, from Mush to Michamocha, from Mem to Mem. There we go, from Mem to Mem. Let's turn to, what are you thinking, Cantor?
I was just thinking it's a natural transition automatically, just because going from the Ve'ahavta to the Michamocha, right? One of the manifestations of the love that our people has for God is that moment, that culminating moment of splitting the sea and being redeemed from slavery in Egypt. And we thought, I mean, it's built into our liturgy every day, so it's a very important moment.
Indeed, indeed. Let's join together in joy and celebration.
And if you're following along in the Siddur, you'll find it on page 16, and we'll put it on the screen here.
Thank you, Cantor. That was wonderful. And Seth is asking how to spell moosh. So it's either Mem Vav Shin or just Mem Shin with a kibbutz
I bet
What
it
do you
would
think,
be
Cantor?
because it's slang. I bet it would be the latter, Rabbi, because from if it's from Mishulam,
Yeah.
it wouldn't the vav wouldn't originally be in that word. So
Yeah, so Mem Shin for those of you who are spelling Hebrew at home. And oh, speaking of another mem, I got a mem word, Mishnah, a little Mishnah gems. So we are in these Shabbats between Passover and Shavuot, and there's a Jewish tradition, which I think many of you are aware of, that we do special things between Passover and Shavuot. We count the Omer, so we count the days to Shavuot. And in the Jewish mystical tradition, you also study the Kabbalah and sort of Jewish God's personality and the human personality through the Sfirot. And a more, I guess, non-esoteric thing to do between Passover and Shavuot is to study Pirkei Avot, to study a tractate, a volume of Mishnah that's one of the most beloved sections and volumes of Jewish literature. It's in most Jewish prayer books. It's so popular. And the tradition is to study a little bit of Pirkei Avot on the Shabbats between Passover and Shavuot. There are 6 chapters in Pirkei Avot, and lo and behold, there are 6 Shabbats between Passover and Shavuot. So it's the tradition is to study a chapter a week, and then we're ready to receive Torah at Mount Sinai. So Jason, let's go ahead and put in the, there we go. You can see it, and we'll also put it in the chat box if you'd like this at home. Thank you, Jason. So Pirkei Avot can be translated a couple of ways. Perek means chapter, so it's sometimes considered chapter of our ancestors, but a perek also means a lesson. And I like that better because I think that's more specific to what Pirkei Avot is. It is a collection of lessons of our ancestors. And just to give you a little bit of background, and then we'll start looking at these wonderful Mishnayot from the great Hillel, who made the sandwich that we eat during Passover. So Jason, why don't we scroll down a little bit at the introduction, and you can see here that Pirkei Avot is a collection of rabbinic sayings compiled, finally edited and put down in the 3rd century of the Common Era. It's quoting Jewish sages from the 3rd century BCE. So we're talking about a 500 plus year collection of Jewish wisdom. I consider Pirkei Avot to be like a Jewish fortune cookie. It's like sayings of Confucius, these pithy sayings, 128 pithy, deep, profound maxim proverbs that Jewish people have been studying and with great love and joy for hundreds of years. And it quotes 65 rabbinic authorities, not all of them rabbis, let's just say 65 sages, beginning with Shimon HaTzadik, Simon the Righteous, in the 3rd century, going all the way to the middle of the 3rd century of the Common Era. It was transmitted and eventually recorded in Hebrew, and some of it's in Aramaic, a sister language of Hebrew, uses the same Hebrew characters, but a little bit different vocabulary and grammar. Over the centuries, it has become the principal ethical scripture for Jews. As one Jewish proverb puts it about the Jewish proverbs in Pirkei Avot, one who wishes to attain piety and virtue should turn to Pirkei Avot, says Rami Shapiro in his wonderful book. But that sounds almost too righteous to me. Another way to say that, I would say one who wishes to attain wisdom and insight and understanding and improve and develop their relationships should turn to Pirkei Avot because it's all in there. So let's take a look at one Mishnah of the great Hillel. Again, not a rabbi. His grandson, Gamliel, we saw during our Passover Seder, was the first Jewish sage to be called Rabbi. Rabban is the Aramaic, and that refers to literally our Rabban, our master, our teacher. And so Hillel said in one, so this is just one Mishnah, and Mishnah means to repeat or something that's learned. You learn it through repetition. It's said over and over again. So this is what Hillel said, that's been said over and over again and studied over and over again through the centuries. There are 5 parts to it. I think we're going to focus on 4 of them. I want you to keep your chat box open, and I want to hear what you have to say about this. I want to hear your insights based upon Hillel's insights. So he began this Mishnah by saying, and it's chapter 2, Mishnah 5, Hillel said, do not separate yourself from the community. Do not separate yourself from the community. Now, if Hillel didn't say it, somebody had to say it, right? If not Hillel, somebody else would have said this in Judaism, as important as the community is to Jewish life, right? You can't live a Jewish life without the community. It's almost impossible. And I'll give you an example. Let's talk about Hanukkah for a second. Who are you going to play dreidel with if you're alone? It's not like solitaire. You can't play dreidel alone. You need a community. You need at least one other person there. So Judaism is lived in community. You think about just about everything that we do, even study traditionally involves at least 2 people. Studies in Judaism is meant to be with at least in pairs. And that's how they did it in the Talmud. They studied in pairs, and that's how Cantor's probably doing it in cantorial school. That's how I did it in rabbinical school. You study in pairs, and that's a traditional way of Jewish study. What are your thoughts about why community is so important? It's more than just playing dreidel. What are the benefits that you see from being in community? And let's just type it in and I'll call them out. What are the benefits that you derive and that you find by being a part of a community? Elizabeth Seaford, sharing joy and pain so that nothing is overwhelming. Yeah, we share. We share our lives together. So we have that support, we have that comfort, and we have that celebration. Imagine if, Shane did his bar mitzvah and it was just Shane up there and Cantor and myself. That's not a celebration. It's going to be people, even virtually. And you're going to see, for those of you who are there, Shane's got family and friends from around the world. That's community. Comfort in difficult times, Deb Johnson says. Yes, absolutely. We should not be going things alone. When Psalm 23, when God says, I am with you, community also says, when we walk through the valley of darkness, we are with you. Absolutely. Community cantor is one of the most powerful ways to experience God. Yes, like Martin Buber, the I thou moment. We experience God when we, as an I, encounter another you, another thou, in the more formal way of saying it. Yes, in relationship we discover the divine. That was Martin Buber's great insight of the 20th century. Fun and good times as well. Social interaction, says Philip. Is that Jackie? Did you say that? Did you? Who wrote that? Was that you? Was that my niece Jackie? Connection and belonging and relevance. Or was that Jess? Or was that Jeff? Or was that Betsy? It's from all of you guys. Connection and belonging and relevance. Yeah, we find all that in community. Sharing recipes. There you go, Mike. One of our resident chefs who did some great recipes for Hanukkah, as I recall. Right, sharing things, sharing food, breaking bread when we're able to do that, when it's not a pandemic. Never feeling that I'm alone. Support, compassion, and connection. Absolutely. Connection to faith with others. Yes, that too. Doug says Scotch tasting from Brotherhood. Right. Doug Johnson, Brotherhood. Scotch tasting, cigar smoking for Brotherhood, poker playing, all the vices. Brotherhood is just doing one vice. I'm kidding. No, the Brotherhood has a lot of fun together. And right, Scotch tasting. General social support in times of stress. Own eggs, absolutely. Vices are better in groups. Thank you, Deb. Absolutely. So Hillel got it right, right? And he said that Hillel lived in the 1st century BCE and he died in the 1st century CE. So we're talking, over 1900 years. Actually, probably over 2000 years he had that insight, and we're still living Hillel's insight. So Jason, let's put up that second Mishnah in his one statement. We get 5 for the price of 1. Oh, I love this. I love this. Would somebody read number 2, his second paragraph, his second statement? This is one of my favorites. Who wants to read it? Just unmute and start reading. Anybody?
Do not trust in yourself until the day of your death. Is this what you want read?
That's the one, Heather. Thank you. Thank you. Heather, why don't you do it again and really we'll really absorb it.
Do not trust in yourself until the day of your death.
I love it. I love it. It's fierce. Hillel was fierce. Don't trust yourself until the day you die. Now, if you're thinking, Heather, if you're thinking, oh, Hillel must have been really insecure. He must have been really neurotic. He didn't trust himself. He didn't trust in himself. Far from it. Hillel was one of the most confident, calm, flexible, determined, a great leader, an example of leadership. So what did he mean by this? Don't trust in yourself until the day of your death. What do you guys think he meant by that? And again, this is not a neurotic talking. This is a very calm, confident, assured, flexible, wise, great leader. How do we interpret it through that understanding? Don't trust in yourself until the day you die. That one has to focus and be deliberate about being good, doing good things. Don't rest on one's laurels. Very good, Deb. Right, we can't rest on our laurels. We are a work in progress. We are a work in progress until the day we die. We can always grow. We can always develop, and we should be doing that. Did Bob Dylan once say, if you're not busy living, you're busy dying? I'm gonna translate that to be, if you're not busy growing, then you're busy decaying. We got to keep growing. So don't trust in yourself in the day you die. Keep growing. Don't rest on your laurels. Thank you, Deb and Doug, from the Schechters in St. Louis. Great. You're always learning and expanding on your thoughts and beliefs. Fantastic. So, right, that's another way to say this. Don't just not trust in yourself until the day you die. Don't necessarily trust your beliefs until the day you die. Don't necessarily trust your understanding until the day you die. Have you ever believed something years ago, you changed your mind, you evolved, and you think to yourself, I can't believe I used to think that way, right? So people who are so certain of their positions and their beliefs and their understanding, I've said it before, those people frighten me. Anybody who is so certain, there's no doubt in their mind, I worry, because that type of person may be dogmatic. They may be extreme. They may not be flexible enough to get new information and say, maybe I'm wrong about that. So the great line from one of my favorite spiritual teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese spiritual teacher, continue to ask yourself, I think it was Thich Nhat Hanh, sounds like him. Continue to ask yourself, when you believe something really strongly, when you have a strong opinion, ask yourself, are you sure? Are you sure? That's what Hillel's talking about too. That's what he means. And he was like that. He was flexible, more flexible than the school of Shammai. That's why we follow the rulings of the house of Hillel. Great. Thank you, Heather. Constantly expanding who we are. Be comfortable with your own uncertainty. Another good one, right? Sometimes it's hard to live with uncertainty. That's painful. We want it black and white. Just tell me what to do. and I'll do it. There's comfort in that. But that's really not how life is. Life is not black and white. It's usually gray. It's usually shades of gray. And to learn to live with uncertainty. That's courage. That's strength. That's why I say Hillel was fierce. All right, very good. Well, I think we got it. So let's continue on. Let's continue on. We're going to see a theme developing here. I see a theme. I wonder if you see a theme in Hillel's thought. Next one. Who would like to read his third one? Just go ahead on a mute and just go for it.
Do not judge your fellow person until you have reached his or her place.
Thank you, Pilar. Thank you, Pilar. And this seems very fitting, Pilar, to have you read this one because you have such a tremendous amount of compassion and understanding in the way you approach the world. And this really is the foundation. What Hillel is talking about is the foundation of compassion and understanding. And by the way, he was a judge. Hillel was the leader of the Jewish people when he lived, and he had to judge cases. He had to judge things. And he's speaking as a judge, but he's also speaking as a human being that, you know, we're prone to judgment. We have to make judgments, right? I bet we make dozens of judgments a day. Is this good? Is this bad? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I not do that? We're constantly making judgments. We're constantly making deliberations, making choices, trying to make the best choices and the best judgments that we can. But we can get into trouble if, again, we're so certain of how we're judging another person. We're so certain of what their motivation is. We're so certain of why they do what they do and who they are. And he's saying, no, put yourself in their place, and maybe you'll have a little bit more understanding of why they did what they did. This is, you know, the modern term for this is called perspective taking. Right? That's a popular term now. If mush is the popular term in Israel for great, cool, I think perspective taking is the it word right now for this sense of, you know, being compassionate and trying to understand somebody else's position. Can we take somebody else's perspective? Do we have the flexibility to take somebody else's perspective on something that we may be in conflict about, something that we're arguing about, something that we feel they did wrong, and how dare they do that? They should have done differently. Can we take Hillel's advice and not judge them until we put ourselves in their place? So any other thoughts about that one? Any other insights about what that could mean and how you understand that? Don't judge another person until you're in their place. A lesson we are failing at horrifically right now as a society. Yeah, people are dug in, right? Deb, Doug, they are dug in their positions. They cannot take another perspective, and they demonize the other. They go beyond challenging somebody's position, and they start demonizing and condemning the person who is delivering the message. It is, yeah, Hillel's advice we need to follow, and in this society much better. Walk 100 miles in their shoes. Yeah, Elizabeth, yeah. Walk in somebody else's shoes and think differently. I'm going to go back to that man I mentioned, Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Vietnamese spiritual leader, may live to be 120. I think he's in his 90s. He's back in Vietnam. He lived in Paris for many years, and he came here to, anybody here Thich Nhat Hanh speak? Anybody seen Thich Nhat Hanh speak? He came to Pasadena. I was fortunate to be able to hear him a couple times at the Pasadena Civic Center. One of the highlights of my spiritual life was to be in his presence and hear his teaching. He was talking about how in Vietnam there were pirates who were terrorizing people and doing terrible things to other boats and ships. And he wrote a poem. He's a poet as well. He said, I am that pirate. He said, I am that pirate. If I grew up on a pirate ship, if I grew up in a family where I wasn't taught how to care for other people and I wasn't shown love, that's me. I am that pirate. And I'm the person that pirate is victimizing too. Just beautiful, beautiful, wise teaching. I think Hillel would agree. But it's not to say you still don't judge somebody, and if they need to go to jail, you send them to jail. This is not licensed to let somebody get away with victimizing other people and hurting other people. It's just to say to be compassionate, to be understanding, but justice still needs to be served. And it's finding that balance so that we don't go overboard, using the metaphor, I guess, of a ship, so we don't go overboard in being so compassionate that we let justice be trampled upon. It's finding that sweet spot between justice and compassion. And by the way, those are God's two main attributes: compassion, loving kindness, and justice. And we have prayers where we ask God during the High Holy Days, during Yom Kippur, God, may you sit on your throne of compassion and loving kindness today, not your justice throne, because I'm going to be in trouble if it's going to be strict justice. I need your compassion. So we need both too. Perry, the heart of cognitive behavioral therapy. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is so applicable to life today. I love it. We're going to skip number 4. I know it's getting late. I thank you for your patience, but I do want to go to number 5. And with this, we'll conclude. Study the 4th one at home about understanding something. 5th one, let me give this one to you just for purposes of time. Say not, when I have leisure, I'll study. Perhaps you won't have any leisure. Don't say, when I have the time to do it, I'll do it. You may not have the time. How true is that, right? If we were not to carve out time for things that were most important to us, if we were not to make time for things that were important to us, something else is going to fill the time. There's always something else to fill the time. We have to make the time to study, to be with our families, to do something important to us that needs to get done. We can't wait for the time to be there for us. We have to make it. So that's Hillel, standing on one foot. If you see the allusion to that, if you guys catch my allusion to Hillel standing on one foot. There's a good reason that a lot of universities have a Jewish center called the Hillel House, right? It's a good person to name your Jewish center after. He was a great leader, a great sage, a great teacher. His words, his wisdom is still relevant today. I encourage you to continue to ponder this and reflect on this. And if you like it, pick up Pirkei Avot. You can find a lot of it online. You can find great books and commentaries and continue to be enriched by the wisdom of our tradition, the lessons of our ancestors. Cantor, should we, what are your thoughts?
I think for the purpose of time, we want to take this moment now to invite everyone for some personal and private meditations.
Sounds like a great idea. We pray silently.
Want to encourage everyone, if you haven't completed your personal or private meditations yet, please feel free to continue to do so. We're going to continue now with Yihu L'Ratzon. May the words and meditations of our hearts and minds right now be acceptable to our God. You can find it on page 22, and we'll put the words up for you.
Thank you, Cantor, and thank you for putting the Safaria suggestion in the chat box. That safaria.org is a free online website where you can find all types of Jewish resources,
Across the
Bible,
board.
Talmud,
Yeah.
prayers. It's awesome. I highly recommend it. So I put in the chat the link to that exact Mishnah, and you can find Pirkei Avot if you copy that link or click on that link. So let's turn now in our prayer books to page 22. Page 22, we keep our hearts open to people that we know and care about. As was said, community is there to comfort one another, be there for one another. We are there for people we know and care about who are sick or injured, and we pray for them. We offer our love and our support. We call them. If it's safe to do so, we visit them, but maybe now's not the time to do that. But we certainly can pick up the phone and call them, and we certainly can pray for them. And we do that now, middle of page 22.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
And we invite you now to offer a name in the chat box of someone or people you know who are in need of healing. Our prayer of healing is for them. And as we continue to put names in the chat box, we also know that our prayer of healing is for all the people listed on our Misha Berach page that's on the screen. Our prayer is for all these temple members who are in need of healing, all these family members who are in need of healing, and all these friends and coworkers who are in need of our healing prayers and our loving support and God's healing presence. Please join us.
Misheberach Imoteinu Bekor habracha la'avoteinu. Bless body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We pray they are all healed. Well, our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our family members who have died, our friends who have passed away, members of our community who have passed, members of every race and nation who are a blessing to humanity. We think of them now, we honor them through our memory and through our prayer. As I mentioned the name of a loved one who has passed, I invite you to please stand, and then we'll all stand together in just a moment to recite the Kaddish prayer. This Shabbat, we remember Mani Berger. We remember Karen Ness and the victims of the Atlanta and Boulder tragedies. We remember our dear friend Linda Luna and Dr. C. Harold Cohn, Barbara Abraham, Ernestine Erkin, Earl Sanders, Larry Moskowitz. We remember our dear friend Rebecca Kaufman and Howard Schwartz, Richard Abraham, David Bernstein, Stephen Strauss. We remember Donald Allen Pocock, Susan Goldsmith. And for those who are observing the art site, the anniversary of the death of a loved one that's commemorated this week, we remember Marilyn Landro, Samuel Baker, and Beverly Schmerling. We remember Shirley Davis. We remember Samuel Lieberman, Marilyn Gordon. We remember Vahan Kachatourian, Steve McGann, Rose Gassman, Stephen Sang. We remember Joseph Snitzer, David Kaufman, Jacob Lewis, Max Lewis, Sonia Lewis, Agnes Lieberman, Bernice Luna, Jack Mark, Mel Michelle, Ronald Oakham, Grace Schildemeyer. We remember Robert Seiden, Bob Seiden. We remember Rabbi Kenny Weiss, Rabbi Kenneth Weiss, and Israel Wolf, and Ruth Zimmerman, and all those we've lost to COVID-19 this past year. And we invite you to put the name in the chat box of someone who has passed, who you're thinking about tonight, and our Kaddish prayer is for them as well. And we invite you to please rise as we thank God that they were all with us. We pray, Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bialma divara chirute v'amlich malchute. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ula'alma ula'almei almaya. Yitparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, Shemei d'Kudesha, Barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and may we, as a community, be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.
And please be seated, everybody.
We want to take a moment to highlight those words that came at the end of the Kaddish, Oseh Shalom, our prayer for peace. Please join me. Oseh Shalom, Shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol
Well, at this time, we are honored to call upon Temple board member Mike Devine to tell us about some wonderful programs here at Temple Sinai. Hi, Mike. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Okay. We'd like to thank tonight's service participants, the Almagor family for candlelighting, Shane Almagor for leading the V'Haftat prayer, and tonight's Oneg was sponsored by Ruth and Richard Goldstein in honor of Richard's 94th birthday and their 57th wedding anniversary. Coming up at Temple Sinai this week, we have Minyan and Torah study meeting earlier than usual tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. so that we'll be over in time for Shane Almagor's bar mitzvah at 11. The whole community is invited to attend this special Shabbat service. On Sunday at 11 a.m., please take part in our Yom HaShoah Holocaust Memorial Service. And on Wednesday at 7 p.m., it's the next session of Rabbi's L'Chaim Happiness and Health series. You'll find the Zoom links and details about all this and more in Sunday's TSG email blast. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so very much. And yes, happy birthday to Richard, 94th birthday. My goodness, may you live to be 120. And as the Israelis say, may you live to be 120 with the strength of a 20-year-old. And Mazel Tov and congratulations on the 56th wedding anniversary of Ruth and Richard. And just to follow up with what Mike said and to follow up with what I said earlier, the L'Chaim Happiness and Health class this Wednesday night, there it is. It is going to be the subject this Wednesday at 7 is a Jewish approach to mindfulness, how to be present to the everyday and sacred moments of our lives. So join us for that, and you can find the details in the link that Jason's going to send out this Sunday morning. Cantor, so you got your Kiddush cup ready.
Yes. I've had this Kiddush cup for 17 years now.
Oh, wonderful. It's still going strong. A lot of memories.
Yes. If you'd all join me in making a short Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen l'chaim.
L'chaim.
Well, for our closing song tonight, chosen an oldie but a goodie. I think a lot of you know and love. Ein Keloheinu, a classic melody. So you'll find that on page 25, and we'll put it up on the screen for you. Please join me. Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemokeinu, ein Kemoshienu, mich Eloheinu, mich Adonenu, mich Elokeinu, mich Moshienu. Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Elokeinu, Nodel Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. And let's unmute and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom as we go into our Oneg.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom,
Shalom.
everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.